Good morning, everyone. Today I am in Lycoming County, more specifically Muncy, Pennsylvania, and we are going to check out Heritage Park. So as you can see, it snowed last night. Looks like we got a couple inches, maybe 3 or 4 inches. So from what I understand, there are some remnants of an old canal here, which I'm thinking this might be it down here. It's probably not coming across on the camera, but we have a little slope. So maybe this was the canal right here. I don't know, but we're gonna do some exploring. And I can see over here, there's something over here. I think it might be an old canal boat or barge, which would be really cool to see. I don't know if it's a replica or an actual canal boat. Okay, so I'm thinking this is a replica. I'm pretty sure. But maybe they used an old canal boat to build this? I don't know. Let's see what the storyboard says. Okay, so it basically says this is a replica that was taken from the Canal Museum in Easton, Pennsylvania. Still pretty cool though. Kind of gives you an idea what these boats maybe looked like at one time. So from what I was reading online, I believe there should be some remnants of the canal, which I think I see right over there. And I think there might be some remnants of an old lock tender's house, as well as maybe an old well. So I believe this bridge we are crossing over right now goes right over. Maybe this was the canal? I mean, it's not wide enough, obviously. Who knows? But I'm thinking possibly the canal went here. And it looks like there's a little bridge over there, which we're definitely going to have to check out. I gotta tell you, it is so cold today. It's only like maybe 23 degrees. But as I've mentioned in other videos, I am not going to hibernate. I'm gonna get out and do a little exploring. Fisher's Pond, built by Donald Fisher in 1969. So that said built in 1969. I'm thinking this was built in 69. And I think this is sort of a nature preserve now. But I believe from what I was reading online, this was sort of like a waiting pond where the barges would wait until they could pass through the canal. And as I'm looking over here, I think this is the canal over here, because I see a little bridge, and we're going to take a walk over there. I think this is probably the towpath I'm pointing to, and then the canal was under there. But before heading over there, I am going to follow this little creek or stream or whatever you want to call it, which I was calling the canal before, which absolutely there's no way that was the canal. But it looks like there's an old culvert or some type of a bridge that was built that goes over this. Oh, there is water in here. I almost stepped down here. That would not be good. Again, I don't have the right footwear. I actually have waterproof boots, and I brought them with me, and they're in my car, but I didn't put them on because I thought I was going to be going for a run. Sometimes I go out for a run, and I kind of change my mind and just decide to do a little exploring. Not sure how close we're going to get to this bridge. But it's pretty cool. There's some old stonework down here. All right, so there's a pretty good view. I would walk over there, but that's water. That's frozen water. As you can see, I'm just standing on this log, and I don't want to step down because it's not a lot of ice. It's a thin layer of ice, and as I said before, I don't have waterproof shoes on, but not sure if that's coming out. You can see it's a nice little arch, some old stonework. You can see the keystone in the middle, and the stream goes right under there and then leads back to that bridge we crossed over. So just making my way around this huge pond, and then we'll head over there, which I believe is where the canal was at one time. So peaceful down here today. Not too many crazy people out in cold weather like this. I know I mentioned that in one of my other videos. It's so peaceful when you come out to these places in the wintertime. So it says that this was constructed in 2014, but it replaced the structure that was swept away in the 1894 flood. So there was a towpath bridge here, and it was built in 1830. So if this was a towpath bridge, I'm thinking right down here is where the canal was, and you follow it along and it goes this way. So you can still see it's dug out, lots of fallen trees. But if it were summertime, I would I'd crawl down there and walk along it. But I don't feel like doing that today. And then this, I suppose, is the towpath. Not sure how far this trail still goes, but we'll walk down it a little bit. So right here, this was the canal. And I'm wondering how close we are to the river. I'm thinking it's over this way. It looks like there's some railroad tracks here, and then I'm thinking the Susquehanna River is over that way. But I'm not 100% sure, but we can check that out on our way out. So I'm just checking this out. I'm guessing this is ice. Yep, solid ice. And these stones, there's a lot of rocks here like this, were probably remains of the canal wall. Lots of square rocks here, as you can see. So this is the remains of what was the wall of the canal. And there's nothing built here. There's homes over there. I'm thinking there's homes over here. But I wonder why they took the walls down if you didn't build here. Maybe it was built up at one time. Maybe the stones are used. Maybe people came and took the stones to build other projects. That probably makes the most sense, right? If the stones are already cut, they were probably taken and used for something else here in Muncy. All right, so now I crossed back over that Towpath bridge, and just looking down here at where the canal was, see if there's any wall still intact. So this is where the mules would be pulling the barge, or the canal boats. So this is kind of cool because at this portion you can see a little bit more of the depth. I'm not gonna walk down there, but that drops off maybe gradually down, maybe like 10 feet into this. I guess you would still call it a canal. I really want to see if we can find the remains of the lock tender's house. And as I said before, I think there's a well here. Hopefully it's not an open well with the snow. Might be a little difficult to find the well because everything's snow covered. I'm gonna guess that the well would probably be next to or near the lock tender's home. All right, I'm trying to make my way over to where the canal was again. Watching my step because it's hard to tell what is just snow and what might be a stream. I really need to be a little more prepared when I come out to these places and wear the right clothing. Should definitely have some waterproof boots on. All right, so all along you can see a lot of these stones just kind of left in the canal. And like where I'm walking right now, this is not built up, but it does get deep if we keep going this way. And again, I'm not sure if I'm walking on ice or snow. I know it's not deep, so there's no danger, but that sounded like ice, thin ice. That was a huge tree at one time, and the way it grew out over the canal. Very cool. So this is pretty interesting how a lock works. The canals are long, flat waterways. We know that. They do not follow the slope of the land. The canal boat approached a lock and the captain would blow a horn, sometimes a conch shell, alerting the lock keeper whose job was to open and close the lock gate. Once inside the lock, a crew member would jump ashore and wrap a rope around a snubbing post, stopping the boat. Then the lock keeper closed the gate and either raised or lowered the water depending upon where the boat was headed. When the water in the lock equaled the next level, the gates were opened and the canal boat continued along its journey. So I want to get over there to see what that is. And I'm also thinking that right there might be not the lock tender's house, but where they would operate the gate. So there are some storyboards over there. So let's make our way over there and check it out. Okay. Let's see what this is. Oh, wow. That's the well. Oh my gosh. So straight down, and I cannot see the bottom, so that's a pretty deep well, but that's pretty cool. So hopefully that is coming out, but you can see there's the stone well. So I'm assuming the lock tender's house was probably close by. All right, so what this basically says is this was a well that the lock tender put in because they needed drinking water, obviously, or clean drinking water. And you see some mortar in between the rocks, but that was put in recently, so it was just built by, I guess, placing rocks together. You know, I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but they would kind of lock in with each other. And there was no mortar at one time. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's see what else we can find. What is this? All right, not really sure what this shed is. I'm thinking maybe this, I don't know how old this is, but maybe this was used by the lock tender. I don't know, what do you think? 19th century? Early to mid 19th century? Well, what did we say earlier? I think this was all constructed, the whole canal, in the 1830s. So is this that old? I don't know. But there is, luckily, a storyboard. Okay, from what the storyboard tells me, this is a replica that was put up in 2012. And it is, I guess it represents what the lock house maybe looked like at one time. I mean, this, I would assume, was not their residence, or maybe it was just part of it, and just to kind of give a look of what maybe it looked like or how it was built. And this symbol here is pretty cool. It is a quilt pattern, and it represents one of the few places in Lycoming County where all the major forms of transportation came together. The river, Indian path, canal, roadway, and the railroad. So over that way is the railroad up on, again, it's probably not coming out on the camera, but trust me, there's railroad tracks over there. So the railroad, the river, the canal, and the roadway. And earlier you might have heard me say, where is the river? So this is the river right here. There is the beautiful Susquehanna River. Okay, so a little fun fact about the Susquehanna River. It is the largest unnavigable river in the United States. Possibly in the world, not sure, but we will check that out. And then I wonder, why is it unnavigable? I guess because of the depth. Does that make sense? So this towpath continues on down this way towards the river. So let's check that out. So as I'm heading down towards the Susquehanna, I want to be careful here. So you can see this stone wall over here. This part of the canal is very much still intact. And I'm thinking if I continue down this way, I can probably make my way down and walk towards that, because I definitely want to check that out. But let's walk down to the river first. And I'm moving quickly because my feet are freezing. Oh, this is turning into such a cool explorer. You know, I had no idea what I was running into here. I mean, I did look it up and I saw that there was a heritage park, but I didn't realize just how beautiful and peaceful this is. See that old railroad bridge? Not sure, but I'm gonna guess it's still an active line, but not 100% sure. So I'm trying to make my way down a little closer to this canal wall. But it's hard to tell where the canal starts. I think we're okay. Ooh, just careful where I'm treading. So right there is a very good view of our canal wall. Looks to be about 8 feet high over there. Coming down to about 6 feet here. And then again, this leads right into the Susquehanna. Now let's see if we can make our way back up here. Oh gosh. Okay, we made it. So I'm just continuing up this road a little bit. And I'm not sure. I don't know if that is part of the park or if that's a private residence. I'm kind of thinking it's probably somebody's personal property, but I'll continue up the road a little bit. Beautiful part of Pennsylvania though, right? I would love to live right along the river like this. Of course, this is not the most beautiful time of the year, but I would think in the spring this would be gorgeous. Look at that old barn. Okay, so I'm making my way back to my car, and I think we pretty much saw everything there is to see here. But I do feel like I want to come back here when the weather's a little warmer and do a little more exploring. But this was cool. I'm glad I came out here. So I'm going to end my video here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you could give it a like, that would be awesome. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. You have a great day. Take care, everybody.